Ladies and gentlemen, today we share news that has left fans stunned, hearts broken, and an entire generation of television lovers in disbelief. Ripa, America's mourning queen of charm and laughter, has delivered a goodbye so raw, so tearful, that it left even her husband, Mark Consuelos, speechless. What were her last words? Why was this goodbye different? And how has it shaken the foundation of the relationship we've all admired for decades? Stay with me, because this story is going to take you deeper than you've ever gone into the world of Kelly and Mark. And by the end, you'll see why this goodbye feels like the end of an era. Ripa and Mark Consuelos first met back in 1995 on the set of All My Children. What seemed like just another Hollywood script quickly turned into the role of a lifetime, the role of soulmates. They weren't just co-stars, they were destiny written in flesh and bone. For nearly 3 decades, we've watched them build not only a family, but also a love story that stood in sharp contrast to the fleeting romances of Hollywood. Picture it. A young Kelly, bright-eyed and fearless, meeting a confident but humble Mark. No one could have guessed that day that they were witnessing history, the birth of a bond that millions would come to admire. And yet, as fans, we saw it bloom before our eyes. But love stories, even golden ones, face their trials. And this goodbye moment is proof that even the strongest unions can be tested by time, change, and the weight of saying farewell. Ripa didn't just step into America's living rooms, she danced, laughed, and poured her heart into them every morning. From Live with Regis and Kelly, to Live with Kelly and Ryan, and finally, with Mark by her side, she became not just a TV host, but part of the family. For millions of Americans, especially those in their 60s, Kelly became a trusted voice. She was someone you could laugh with, cry with, and lean on, even when the world outside felt uncertain. And when Mark joined her on screen, the chemistry was undeniable. It wasn't scripted, it was real. Their banter, their glances, their inside jokes reminded viewers of their own marriages, their own triumphs, their own challenges. Which is why when Kelly delivered her emotional goodbye, it wasn't just about her and Mark. It felt like America itself was losing a mourning companion. Let's set the scene. The studio lights dimmed slightly, Kelly's voice wavered, and tears welled in her eyes. Mark reached for her hand, a small gesture, but one that spoke volumes. And then came the words no one was prepared for. She didn't simply say goodbye. She poured out a confession, a mixture of gratitude, heartbreak, and revelation. She spoke about the years she had dedicated, the sacrifices she and Mark had made, and the reality that sometimes love requires stepping back before you can really move forward. Her final words echoed through the studio. Mark, this isn't just my goodbye, it's ours. But even in goodbye, there is love that never ends. Fans in the audience gasped. Some clutched their chests. Online, social media erupted. And within hours, Kelly's tearful farewell became a moment etched into the collective memory of millions. But here's the question that lingered. What did she really mean by those last words? Was this a goodbye to television, to Mark, or to something much deeper? As the news spread, fans reacted with shock and grief. Messages poured in, stories of viewers who had watched Kelly and Mark for decades, who felt they had grown up alongside their journey. One woman from Ohio wrote, "I started watching Kelly when I was raising my kids. She was my companion during breakfast, my laughter in hard times, and my reminder that love still exists. Her goodbye feels like losing a dear friend." For the 60 to 65-year-old audience, this wasn't just about celebrity gossip. It was about the passage of time. Kelly and Mark had been constants, symbols of stability in a changing world. And now, watching Kelly cry as she said goodbye, fans were reminded of their own goodbyes. To loved ones, to jobs, to chapters of life that had closed. It wasn't just television, it was personal. So why did Kelly choose this moment to step away? Insiders whisper that health, family priorities, and the relentless pace of morning television finally caught up. Others suggest that Kelly wanted to give Mark space to shine, to finally step into his own without her always leading the way. But what truly strikes the heart is the idea that Kelly's goodbye wasn't about ending. It was about protecting. Protecting her marriage, her family, and her sense of self. For decades, she gave America her mornings. Now, she seemed to be giving herself back to her own life. Still, the timing raises questions. Was there something we weren't told? Something hidden beneath those tears? Stay with me, because what comes next might surprise you. As Kelly spoke, cameras caught Mark's reaction. He was usually the jokester, the charmer, the one to ease the tension. But that day, his eyes glistened with tears. He wasn't just a co-host in that moment. He was a husband, watching his wife bare her soul. When Kelly whispered her last words, Mark squeezed her hand, and though he didn't speak much, his silence was louder than any words. For fans, it was a glimpse into the private world of their marriage, a world of deep devotion, of sacrifices unseen, and of love that could weather even this storm. But even in that silence, questions swirled. What was Mark thinking? What promises were exchanged in those glances? And could this really be the last time we'd see them together on that stage? Kelly and Mark's story is more than just about television. It's about resilience, commitment, and the courage to show vulnerability in front of the world. For decades, they proved that true love doesn't have to fade under the spotlight. They showed that marriage, even in Hollywood, can endure. And now, with this goodbye, they've left us with one final lesson. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let go. Their legacy isn't just the episodes, the laughter, or even the tearful farewell. It's the reminder that love stories, when lived with authenticity, inspire generations. But here's where it gets complicated, because while Kelly's goodbye seemed final, whispers suggest that this might not truly be the end. Some say she's preparing for a new chapter, one that could bring her and Mark back into the spotlight in a whole new way. So, was this really goodbye, or was it the beginning of something unexpected? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. Kelly Ripa's tearful farewell to Mark Consuelos will be remembered not just as a television moment, but as a love story milestone. And perhaps, just perhaps, the story isn't finished yet. So what do you think? Were Kelly's last words a final goodbye or a hidden promise? Tell me in the comments, because this story is far from over. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because we'll keep bringing you the stories that matter, the stories that inspire, and the stories you'll never forget.